Thank you for the time, Miss. Um, First, introduce myself. I'm Zahra Salsabila and my friend Talitha Muslimah Fauziyyah. Uh, and we are students from UIN Sunan Gunung Jati, Bandung. And here we want to interview for interview you to ask about teaching. Okay, first of all, what is your name?
My name is Kelly.
Okay, what's your nationality?
I'm from the US.
And where you live now?
Now I live in Bandung, Indonesia.
Oh, well,
Okay, so I will ask you several questions. Okay, Miss?
Sure.
Okay. For the first question, what is your main reason for choosing to be a teacher?
Yeah, I think for me, I love just helping people understand something that they didn't know before. Teaching them something new is exciting. I love people and connecting to other people. So that's what you can do as a teacher. Obviously, you work with people. So that's one thing that made me want to be a teacher.
Okay. Is there any personal experience or inspiration that made you interested to become a teacher?
Yeah, when I was young, I helped my little sister with her math homework, and that's the first time that I remember feeling like, oh, it's fun to teach other people. So that was one experience that led me to consider teaching.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, is there any challenges do you often face in this profession?
Yeah, um, for sure. I mean, I teach now. I teach online um, to students, and I teach English. And most of my students speak Chinese. They're Chinese speakers from Taiwan, from Hong Kong. Most of my students are from those places. So I don't speak Chinese. So sometimes if I have students who don't speak very good English yet, then I have to work hard to understand them. So that's the challenge I face now.
Okay. Do you have any specific method or strategy to overcome these challenges?
Yeah, like of course I teach online. So one thing that I tell my students to do is if they don't know an English word, I tell them just type the Chinese and then I can just translate it. I can use Google Translate and see what the word is in English. So that's one thing I do too. Or sometimes maybe they are speaking English, but their pronunciation is not very good, so I can't understand what they're saying. So I just say, can you please type it in English? I just type it, the English word, and then I can see what it is, and I can help them with their pronunciation.
Yeah.
okay.
English. So we do a lot of talking and sharing in class. So I get to know more about my students and about their lives. So that's probably what I love most about teaching.
Okay. For the next question, what is the most memorable moment you have experienced as a teacher?
Uh, that's a good question. I think one time I had a student who was actually she was from Finland in Europe, and her English was really, really good, like perfect. I I really struggled to find mistakes because her pronunciation was so good, vocabulary was really good, grammar was perfect. So sometimes we would have like 1 hour long lesson, and I only gave her like five, six, seven corrections throughout the lesson. So I felt like I don't think I'm really helping her. But then she told me after several lessons together, she told me that she was always too shy to speak English to anyone. But then she went to a restaurant, and that week she had gone to a restaurant and was able to order in English, speak English confidently. And she said, "Thank you so much for teaching me. I never felt like I had the confidence to speak English before you." So that meant a lot to me because even though I feel like I didn't help her much with vocabulary, grammar, pronunciation, but I helped her with confidence. So I was happy to have that impact.
Mm. Okay, for next question for um can you share a specific experience that had a significant impact uh on your students?
Can you say that one more time, sorry? Is there
Okay.
any what?
Uh, can you share a specific experience that had a significant impact on your students?
Okay. You said, is there any? Sorry, can you share a specific experience that had a significant impact on you or your students,
Yeah.
or for me too, or just my students?
Uh, yes, your students. I think both me.
Like something I taught my students that had an impact.
I think it's how uh, how to become a good teacher.
Okay, how to be a good teacher?
Yeah.
Hold on. I think an important thing is that for one important thing I think that sometimes teachers forget or people forget when they're teaching is that it's important to make sure you really understand what the student knows and doesn't know. So usually if a student makes a mistake, um, I try not to explain too much why they made the mistake, what's the correct solution, why is it the correct um, sentence or vocabulary word. I try to ask them first. I say, do you know why we should say, for example, I might ask if a student makes a mistake. For example, if they say like, oh, in 2000, in the year 2000, I have been to Europe. And I say, actually, we say in the year 2000, I went to Europe, not I have been to Europe. And I ask them first, why? Do you know why? Why should we say I went and not I have been in this sentence? And so I try to see if they know first before I explain. I make sure they understand. Because um, I think it's important for the students to speak as much as possible, and for this teacher not to only teach what the students don't know, but not to teach the students what they already know. So we have to find out what do the students already know, and then we can help them with what they don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Miss.
It's
I
enough,
Yeah.
think
Rita.
for the last question, Zahra, I think for last question, Miss, are there any particular skills, uh, attitudes, or habits that you think are important to develop before entering the world of education?
Good question. Any skills, attitudes, or habits? Yeah, I think actually, just like I mentioned before, I think being a good listener is the most important. Knowing how to connect with people, how to connect with your students, how to be a good, yeah, just a good friend, a good listener. Because I think teaching is a lot about relationships, and it's not about how much you know. It's about how you connect to the students. I think, in my opinion, so I think it's important to, yeah, just develop good like listening skills, good relationship skills, things like that. Maybe.
Okay. Yes, then.
Is it enough?
Yes.
Okay, thank you for your time, Miss, for answering our question. I think that's enough for our meeting. Thank you
Okay.
very much.
Thank you,
All
Miss.
right. Thank
See
you.
you.
Bye bye.
Bye.